Okay, shalom, shalom. Kwam Yasha'Allah, Koholoyimla, Yahweh, Bahashim Yahushai, Bahashim Rakakwadash. Double honors to our apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Rule well, and that by the Spirit taught us this beautiful truth. Just want to say the water toward the H.I.M and Akwaf that's out here sincerely keeping the laws, the statutes and commandments of Yahweh Bahashim Yahushai to the best of their ability. This is Yachanan Nawaf, just coming at you with another quick lesson. Praying that it's edifying by the Spirit, right? So, another back to the basics lesson. This article is from the Huff Post. It says, I'm black, but look white. Here are the horrible things white people feel safe telling me. So this lady right here, she can pass for an Edomite. You know what I'm saying? So I read through the story, and it's quite a long story. I don't want to go through it all. So I'll pretty much roughly paraphrase what she pretty much overall said. Basically, she grew up in the 1960s. Well, a guy came by her house, I guess walking a damn dog or whatever, but he asked her why she had a Black Lives Matter sign in her yard. And, went off into talking about how pretty much, let me see what he said here. Why do you have a Black Lives Matter sign on your front lawn when all these people do is kill each other? See? And that's the way that a lot of them do feel. Edomites do feel that way. They never think about the killing that they done. And had we not even been here, had they not kidnapped us and brought us here, we wouldn't even be here for them to even complain about. But they kidnapped us, raped, robbed, and pillaged us. Then put us in situations where they put us against each other, causing discord among brethren. That's one of the things that Esau, the so-called white man, is very good at. He's good at causing division among people. And that's what he done with us. And then that's why the scripture talks about the accuser of the brethren. See, that's a part of being the accuser of the brethren right there. Matter of fact, let me get that real quick. Because this is what Esau does. I know it's in Revelation, but let me do it like this. See, he sets up the situation, and then he sets the trap, and then, he accuses you once you fall into the trap, right? Revelation 12:10. And I heard a loud voice saying in heaven, now it's come salvation and strength and the kingdom of our God and the power of his anointed, Yahweh Shai Mashiach. For the accuser of our brethren is cast down, which accused them before our God day and night. And that's Esau. And this whole thing that's going on in the planet spiritually is about Esau and Jacob, those two brothers that were born of Isaac and Rebekah. And it's been an ongoing fight because of the birthright and the blessing that Jacob had, that he feels as if it's his. But he sold the birthright. And prophetically, it wasn't meant for him anyway. But a lot of so-called white people, they don't know or understand why they actually hate us. But it's really going back to that, because there's this war, this spiritual war in this movie. There are two main characters, and those characters are Esau, which would be the villain, the so-called white race, and Jacob, which would be the hero. And so right now, he's getting the best of us in the movie. It's just like any superhero movie that you may watch. The villain always getting the best of the hero all the way into the end. And see, this man's kingdom is about to end. And that's why a lot of lessons like this come up, is to overturn the stumbling blocks that this man has set up to fool the people, because he's actually a deceiver. Salakia for my voice too. And kind of, whatever. Stand on top of that T. But anyway. So, there's no such thing as black or white people. That's a social construct. No one looks like a glass of milk, and no one looks like a car tire. There are different shades of red people on the earth, and that's Edom. That's Edomites. The scripture says that Esau came out red. And as you can see, she kind of got a reddish tint to her. She's not actually white. She doesn't look like snow. Right? And again, there's no such thing as black people. When you go up into that definition of black, It means void of light. Not spiritual, unrighteous, dusty, dirty, criminal, But when you go into white, it's all about pureness, righteousness, good. You see? And so they came up with these social constructs, right? But going through the story, she's talking about, all the disgusting things she had to go through, in school. They wouldn't let her father was in the army. He got the GI Bill, which he couldn't use. Right? Now, supposedly, from what here's a picture of her parents, because both of her parents are so-called black people, from what she's saying. Now, unless the father is a tear, which, because there are white people that look like this. And we understand that through slavery, the so-called white man, he laid with the so-called black woman, impregnated her, and children were born. Now, some of those children were coming out dark-skinned, but they were still his seed. And that's what we're going to get into in Numbers chapter 1. Because your seed line goes through your dad. The mother has absolutely nothing to do with ethnicity at all. Though the child may come out looking exactly like the mom. They can look like damn twins. But the dad, he's the one that's the progenitor of the race. Because the children are already swimming within him. So they are what he is already. No such thing as biracial. No such thing as mixed. Those words came about real big in the 1970s. Because only in America really is where they teach that you can be biracial or mixed. You won't get that anywhere in no other Eastern countries like that. They understand that what your dad is, that's what you are. And that's why they're not too big. They're not big on mixing. You think you go to somewhere like Afghanistan or Iran or some shit like that those people will be happy for you to deal with their daughters? No, they're not going to be with that. They're going to want someone of their nation to deal with their daughters, to carry on their seed line. Because they understand that a so-called white man or a Chinese or Japanese coming there and marrying their daughters and having children with them, they know that those children are not going to be what they are no more. They're going to be what that man is, right? So, but this is her mother and father. But she said that amongst her family, every now and then there will be a child or two that will come out looking like them, right? So she said one of her uncles in here, he moved. He basically, he looked like he was a so-called white man. So he just played that card. He joined the military. He went overseas. He married, I think, a German woman or something like that. And, came back and said he never looked back. He kept on living as a white man. So she said that she kind of hated him for that. Or she had disgust for him. Now, she said she had an auntie that looked the same way. She played white, but she only done it to buy properties or, to rent to so-called black people. So she was using like her look to pretty much help her people. And this lady said she wanted to be more like that. Right? So, again, it's a long article. She's, going back, going up into her schooling. Now, this is the mom with her and her sister. Of course, the nigga this, nigga that thing that was going on, because they still doing it to this day. So you can imagine how bad it was back then. So that's pretty much the story. I mean, it's a decent story though. But this is them right here. That's the father with the children. He looks like a Jake. But there are so-called white people that look like him though. And again, it's because of seed line. So let's just go straight into the scriptures. I don't want to keep this long. A little back to the basics. Numbers chapter 1. I'm going to start from verse 1. It says, "And the Lord spake unto Moses in the wilderness of Sinai, in the tabernacle of the congregation, on the first day of the second month, in the 2nd year after they were come out of the land of Egypt, saying, Take ye the sum of all the congregation of the children of Israel, after their families, by the house of their fathers, with the number of their names, every male by their poles. See? So your house or your lineage, it went by your father. Because why didn't it say by the house of their mother? Or why didn't it even say by the house of their father and their mother, with the number of their names, every male and female by their poles? See? It only uses the father, and it only uses the male. Now, when you go to verse 18, because see, it names off all the tribes right here. These are all men. Verses 6 on down to verse 15 right there, but verse 18 is the point. And they assembled all the congregation together on the 1st day of the month, or the 2nd month, and they declared their pedigrees after their families by the house of their fathers, see, according to the number of the names from 20 years old and upward by their poles. And a lot of people don't understand that. They won't even accept it because women worship is so big in America. They'll look completely past even so-called white people. They'll tell you about their science. Look at the science. Well, the science is clear that the dad, he carries the seed. The seed is no different than planting a garden in your backyard. Whatever seed you plant, that's exactly what you're going to get. The ground has nothing to do with what the seed turns out to be. The seed is what it is when it goes into the ground. And that's pretty much the role that the mother plays, right? But here in the Americas, this man, see, the Lord is not the author of confusion. Esau is a fucking deceiver. And he's a fugitive in the earth. He's trying to keep people from knowing who he exactly is. You know, his real race, his real ethnicity. Those are Edomites. It has nothing to do with skin color. But he's telling people that you can be a goddamn color out of a crayon box, and that's your race. That's your ethnicity. Like, you can't get on a bus or plane or train and go to nowhere called black, nor white for that matter. These are social constructs that this man came up with, right? So now when you go into the book of the, and I like to bring this out every now and then too. Let me just grab it for the sake of people that may be new to this truth. But when you put in wheat and you put tares, you'll see that they look exactly alike, but they're not the same. And they actually, all I done was put wheat and tares, and they actually got the parable right here. The parable of the wheat and tares is a parable told by, they say Jesus, but we say Yahweh Shai, because that's his real name. It says it appears in Matthew 13, 24 through 43. The parable is a metaphor for the separation of true believers from false believers and the judgment of false believers by God. But this is going off into a parable of people that look like the Israelites, but they're not. So see, when you see the image of wheat and tares, what you'll see is they look alike, but they're not the same. See? And when I grew up in the South, I used to see this shit and just never knew. Because see, you have to let it grow up together. And then when it gets all the way full growth, that's when you can tell what's what. But while they're growing together, you can't tell. See, these are two different things. The one to the right has absolutely no value. The one to the left has the value. Right? So when you go into the parable, let's go into it. Matthew. Because this is a parable that's being told. Let me get straight to it here. Verse 24. Matthew 13 and 24. Another parable put he forth unto them, saying, The kingdom of heaven is likened unto a man who sowed seed in good Salakia. Another parable put he forth unto them, saying, the kingdom of heaven is likened unto a man which sows good seed in his field. But while men slept, his enemy came and sowed tares among the wheat and went his way. But when the blade sprung up and brought forth fruit, there appeared the tares also. So the servants of the householder came and said unto him, Sir, did not thou sow good seed in thy field? From whence then hath it tares? He said unto them, an enemy has done this. The servant said unto him, wilt thou then that we go and gather them up? But he said, nay. He said no to him, lest while ye gather up the tares, ye root up also the wheat. Let both grow together until the harvest. And in the time of harvest I will say to the reapers, gather ye therefore, Salakia, gather ye together first the tares, and bind them in a bundle to be burned, to burn them, but gather the wheat into my barn. So see, the tares are useless. The wheat is what's valuable. The tares are just tumbleweed, man. So now, let's get to what he was saying, because the disciples wanted to know. Let me see, where to start at. Verse 36. Because he's going to explain this whole situation here, because there are people out here that look like Israelites and they're not. Like you got people out here, for example, Tracy Ellis Ross. That's a so-called white woman, but she appears to be a so-called black woman because she got a little body on her. She got a little tent. She picked up a little bit of that from her mother, Diana Ross. But her dad is a so-called white man. So she is what he is. You got Lenny Kravitz. You got the Smolletts, Jussie Smollett and Journey Smollett and them. Those are all white people, so-called. The Maury twins. Those are so-called white girls because they all have white fathers. It's that simple. And it's not a color thing, because you got people out here, so-called black people that's out here that look like Joe Biden, look like Donald Trump. You know? It's that simple. It's not a color thing. So-called white people gave the people that confusion, because we know for a fact that your seed goes to your dad. But let's finish this up. Matthew 13 and 36. Then Yahushua sent the multitude away and went into the house. And his disciples came unto him, saying, declare unto us the parable of the tares of the field. So they tell us what's up. What's going on? Explain that to us. He answered and said unto them, he that soweth good seed is the Son of Man, which is Yahushua, which the world ignorantly calls Jesus. The field is the world. The good seed are the children of the kingdom, right? But the tares are the children of the wicked one. See that? And there's a difference. The righteous, the good seed, are the children of Israel. The tares are of the wicked one, Esau, Edom, the so-called white man. But again, he laid with a lot of women of all the nations. So it can go both ways. One of the very first things that Esau done when he got married, he married women of color. I think he married an Ishmaelite, one of the Ishmaelite daughters, and a Canaanite woman, because he was red already. But what that done was his children came out and they had darker colors, but they were still Edomites. And there's a lot of people that's in the world. It's people that look like so-called Chinese people that are so-called white people, actually. Japanese, because he's blended with everyone. But when it comes to this part about the wheats and the tares, it's going off into the so-called blacks and pretty much the so-called whites. Because when he mixed this seed during slavery, that caused confusion, because there were children that came out looking like they were black, but they were actually the seed of Esau. And these people are out here to this day. So when the Lord comes, when the angels comes, the reapers comes, they're going to separate them tares from the wheat. So let's finish this up. Verse 37 again. He answered and said unto them, He that soweth the good seed is the Son of Man. The field is the world. The good seed are the children of the kingdom, but the tares are the children of the wicked one. The enemy that sowed them is the devil, which is that word devil just goes off into deceiver. That's another thing that they lied about. You know, they lied to the people through their movies, cartoons and shit, telling you that the devil is some red guy on the ground standing around this lake of fire and he's tormenting people. No, that word devil just goes off into deceiver. And he's a big deceiver, man. It is what it is. It says the harvest is the end of the world, and the reapers are the angels. As therefore the tares are gathered and burned in the fire, so shall it be in the end of this world. And that's the actual end coming for Esau. Matter of fact, you can get that account in it's that Obadiah, chapter 1, I think verse 18. It's only one chapter. Yep, verse 18. And the house of Jacob shall be a fire, and the house of Joseph a flame, and the house of Esau for stubble. See? What's stubble? It's just like that. The tares. It's nothing but straw. And they shall kindle in them and devour them, and there shall not be any remaining of the house of Esau, for the Lord hath spoken it. See that? So that's the story of what's going to happen to the Edomites after working and being enslaved for 1,000 years and building up the kingdom of the children of Israel, because they got to pay double for what they done to the children of Israel on this planet. To this very day, they still have us in captivity, calling us all kinds of bywords, calling us shit like black. The hell is a black, man? Anyway, so when I seen this article, I was like, hey, a good back to the basics lesson, because a lot of newcomers coming to this truth and they don't really know this. Because America, they have taught the people there's a such thing as biracial and multiracial. I'm 13% this, 20% that, I'm 18% this, all that 23 and me shit. That's not scriptural, man. So I'm going to end out there. I pray that the lesson was edifying. With that, Kwame Yashala and the Bible Ball.